Rich, we're flashing. I don't know if that's
On the screen?
the thingy is
Yeah, the screen one is done.
not solid. Sure. I just sent it one place.
You're going to be black or you're going to go to something?
Hang on.
They have a color shot.
Hello everyone and welcome to the USTrotting Hambletonian Pre-Show 2024. Joining me is this beauty. It's not Ashley Mayhew,
That's
it's
right.
Emily Gaskin. And unfortunately, Ashley had some travel issues. She's not going to be able to even come to the Hambletonian this year. Emily?
Yeah, bad day to have some travel troubles, but I know there were a lot of issues. Of course, we want to wish Ashley well. I know she said that she'll be back for the 100, so we'll make it extra special when she makes it back.
We will, but for me, from one pro to another, Emily, thank you so much, as this is our first time working together, and it is such a treat for me.
It is hard to believe. I was talking about it last night when you asked me. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank you for asking me. I am going to be an off-the-bench hitter. Hopefully, I can, keep the game going. But yeah, I'm really excited. I can't believe this is our first time working together. Of course, we've worked together in passing and things like that, but our first on the desk experience. So looking forward to it. Of course, it doesn't get much better than this, Wendy.
It certainly doesn't. Hambo Day. Just because I saw Nancy earlier this week when we did our interview, she said, "It's here." I was like, "It's here." It just seems to roll around.
Ready or not.
Every year. A little bit about you, though. Of course, everyone might know she's one of the most known races in harness racing as far as an analyst. She's the face of Hoosier Park for many, many years, but you're also now a really, really proud mama. And you said you're just doing some consulting, some other sponsorship work now.
Yeah, so just stepping back a little bit, obviously Harris Hoosier Park has been so good to me, my career. Loved everything that we were able to accomplish there, and I'm still there on occasion when they need me, just more of a part-time basis. And like I said, it will always be home to me. So yes, just stepping back a little bit. As you said, I've got two little ones at home that certainly keep me busy and keep me occupied. So it was just time to step back a little bit. I'm going to be working at the Red Mile this fall, so I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, just taking in big events and it doesn't get much better than this.
No, and we're so glad you get to do cool things like this.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Team Gaskin on a big win last night in Indiana. And
yes.
you get to go to the barn and do some things, get back to the barn, which is what we all love to do anyway.
Exactly, Wendy, you're exactly right. And I think I said this, a couple weeks ago. At the end of the day, we're still horse crazy girls, right? And so to be able to go to the barn and appreciate those wins and get up close and personal with the horses, that's what it's all about. And so for me, and I think you appreciate this too, the horses really are mental health for me. It makes it easy, and when I can get to the barn, it's a good mental health day for me.
It certainly is. But to business today, it's Hambo Day.
It is.
We've got generators in the background.
Yeah.
We have the harnessracing.com, that's formerly the Harness Racing Fan Zone tent. The drivers, the trainers are over there signing autographs, generators, horses warming up, fans coming in. It's going to be a great day.
It is. And we talk about that, and we'll talk about it a little later too. It really adds to the atmosphere. Kind of the feeling is palpable. The excitement is palpable. Hats off to the drivers and trainers for taking time out of their busy days. A little bit later, they're going to be racing for $1 million. I can't imagine where their mind's at, but they're up here smiling and talking to the fans. So hats off to them. Like we said, it just adds to the experience that is Hambletonian Day.
And one thing I don't know about you, but you have to plan your Hambletonian outfit. For me, it's all about the dress today. I'm kind of in a chiffon red. You're in a
Yes.
very, very sharp blue. And it's all about the shoes. Now, when we work on a day like today, we have to have very comfortable shoes. Now, one thing about you, Emily, before we go any further, you used to wear heels when you worked at Hoosier Park.
Yeah. So I was shot a little differently, as I like to say. Aluminum. I was on go all the time. Like you said, heels. The shoes are an important part. And if my husband's watching this, he's probably chuckling in the back because you talk about dresses. How many dresses? How many things I had to? How many orders I had delivered? I actually have a package probably on my front porch right now of a dress that I was gonna wear. But that's neither here nor there. But yes, it's a big part of it, and certainly enjoy that side of it as well.
Well, from dresses to harnessracing.com is certainly something we launched through USTrotting in this past month. From June 24th, we've had 10,000 viewers
That's
to
incredible.
our website. It's been viewed in over 25 countries. Now, harnessracing.com, of course, was set up for the people not in harness racing. So when you're out on the town, they say, "What do you do?"
Yeah.
You're like, "I work in harness racing." They can say, "Go to harnessracing.com."
Yeah.
For people interested in owning, getting into wagering, figuring out who's the top performers, top drivers, that type of thing. So that's kind of what, and it's a sponsor of our show today.
It is, and it's such a natural fit. And like you said, I think that's worth hitting home again for those folks that may be joining us that, are everyday visitors of the sport. If you've got some friends, the Uber driver, I Ubered here and he's like, harness racing, and I said, go to harnessracing.com. So it was such a needed aspect of the industry. And like I said, those folks that are maybe industry professionals, we now have that spot that those folks that we can direct and of course hopefully garner some new fans out of. Love what you guys have done with it and look forward to watching it take on to the next step.
We have swag here.
I know, I'm hoping to grab some of those
So if
before I
anyone's
leave.
here, please stop by and get a swag. Of course, our other sponsors, Cane Run Farms, Standardbred Sales Company, and Hunterton Farms. Today, our guests are going to be, you might know a few of these names, Nancy Takter, Ron Burke, Jessica Otten, the beautiful face of the Meadowlands, and Derick, the editor of DRF Harness. So we'll look forward to having them on throughout the show. A little Hambo history. We can't do anything without going in. It's the 99th Hambletonian, Emily. Started back in 1926 for a purse of $73,451 at the New York State Fair in Syracuse. Funny to think that now they're going for over $1 million today.
It really is. You know, I know inflation is a thing, but that seems to have maybe taken on a little more as far as.
And they were probably just as excited for $73,000
Yes,
as they for $1 million
it
today.
was just as big. You know, and that's what's so beautiful about the Hambletonian. Talk about the 99th edition, and I know we're going to talk about favorite editions. Everybody has their favorite, but it's that race that just has not lost hype. You know, there are races that have switched venues, that have gone different places, purses have adjusted, the stake schedule has changed around, but the Hambletonian remains the same, and that's what just makes it absolutely iconic.
And as part of remaining the same, it came to the Meadowlands in 1981 and has remained here. And I would say it's still the sport's most prestigious race.
Very much so, yeah. It rivals no one.
Winningest driver is John Campbell with, do you know how many?
Oh, that's a really great question. No, I don't.
6.
Oh, I did know that. Now
Winningest trainers are Billy Houghton, Stanley Denser, and Ben Waite. Now this is going all the way back, right, into like when it first started. Now Jimmy Takter, Chuck Sylvester, the most recent, with both have 4. And the winningest breeder is Hanover Shoe Farms with, do you know how many?
11, I think. 10 or 11?
Yep, 11
right.
for them. Now looking at, there's 104 colts nominated into the Hambletonian, so to get to just 10, it takes a big feat to get here.
It really is, you know, and as I was going back and watching replays and things like that, there are certain horses that you almost forget about, right? Because you get so hyper-focused on these 10, and, you know, rightfully so. They've made it into the field. They've ran the gauntlet as far as the stake season is concerned. But even going back to last year, there were quite a few colts that I can remember even watching in the Breeders' Cup. Look forward to watching this horse in the Hambletonian. Things happen, and like I said, we've whittled it down to a field of 10, and hats off to all of them because, like we said, it's certainly a gauntlet to get here.
And it all starts going to the Lexington, the Harrisburg, whatever sale you go to, and you want to buy your 3-year-old colt, and you say, this is where you want to be racing.
That's
and
right.
Everybody has that dream in their eye, right?
It really does, yeah. You know, and I know you talked about that a little bit with Nancy Takter too. You know, she even said last year, talking about Carl, you know, when you buy a trotting colt, this is what you aim for. And you talk about dreaming big, that's what this business is about, right? Dreaming big. I don't think any of us would be involved if it wasn't about dreaming about the next big race and the next big horse. And that's certainly what the Hambletonian has done and provided for a lot of people. You know, when you talk to these drivers and trainers, you know, and I know we're going to talk to Ron Burke and Nancy Takter and things like that, it's just amazing to me that the Hambletonian just sets alone. It's alone. You know, everyone talks about their Hambletonian win or that they haven't won a Hambletonian yet. So I think that just speaks volumes to the race as well.
And shout out to the Hambletonian Society, who of course takes care of all the staking, and the Hambletonian itself. They do such a great job, and they make it the special day it is.
Yes, very much so. Like I said, it certainly adds to the ambiance as far as the day, and I know the Hambletonian Society does such a great job of bringing that alive. You know, it's a year's worth of work. As soon as one Hambletonian is over, they're on to planning the next, and their work certainly does not go unnoticed.
Well, I don't know what your week was like, but I was at the Meadows for the Adios, and then the crew and I hit the road Sunday, and we've been going all throughout the week. We hope everyone has tuned in for our coverage. It's on all of our social media platforms, our homepage there, and of course at USTrotting on our YouTube page of all the contenders. We got to go to see all 10 colts. This is the coolest part of my job. And we got to catch up with Blacksmith's Stars, Connie Svensson, right? But we got to go, and that's kind of led to the pre-show. We said, let's do this show to kind of cap it off, and that's kind of how we did it. So did you catch up any of our coverage?
I did, and I wanted to mention it to you and to the crew. What a fabulous job that you guys have done. And I was listening to it and just absolutely loved it, and I hope the fans enjoyed it as well.
I do too, because the crew, you know, everyone says, Wendy, we love the videos, and I said, no, the people behind the camera make it look good, and so hats off to the team. They're the best. But Twitter is all about Twitter, well, X, should I say. I got to get into the times. This week we did 2 polls on X or Twitter, and of course the first poll was, we wanted to ask people what was their favorite Hambletonian, and we gave them the choices of Atlanta, Muscle Hill, Tactical Approach, and Marion Marauder. You can see there, very close between
Close.
Muscle Hill, of course, who's probably one of the greatest trotters. It's your opinion of all time. And Atlanta, of course, everybody loves Atlanta.
Girl power.
It was really close. And pool number 2, do you think Carl and TCI will win the Hambletonian? And you can see 80% of them said yes. And looking at this graphic here, speaking of Carl and TCI, we know we've set up this rivalry that came from their 2-year-old year. Now today is only the 3rd time Carl and TCI get to meet up, and these two are 1-for-1 against each other, Emily. As you know,
right.
Over there in Indiana, where Carl did get up in the Breeders' Crown, right?
Yeah, so the rubber match, the gloves come off, and very much looking forward to it. As you said, they're each got a win to their credit as far as facing off is concerned. So hopefully the gloves are going to come off, and we're going to see these 2 top colts battle to the wire.
Well, I know in the Stanley Dancer, going into that, a lot of people were like, should we even enter, because they know those two. But
right.
I think in the Stanley Dancer, that made people say, okay, we got these colts are beatable. I don't know if they're going to be beatable today, but it did give some people some chances. And these are the type of colts, when you go to the sale or you breed, these are the colts that you hope to have on Hambletonian
Yeah,
Day.
very much so. And like I said, the thing that I love the most is that we're going to let the horses settle in on the track, right? You say off track here, things like that. No, all systems are go today. So very much looking forward to that.
And we'll have to see what Nancy and Ronnie say here in a little while. A lot of great races also coming the way to the Sam McKee Memorial for Open Pacers, the John Steele Memorial for trotting mares, and the Cashman for Open Trotters, and the Lady Liberty. That's a great night. We got a great group of pacing mares right now. Well, let's get down to business, and we want to keep going here talking about the races. Let's talk about that Hambletonian setting up for race 12. $1 million, over $1 million on the line here today, of course, led by the heavy 6-5 morning line favorite, Carl.
Yeah, very much so. And draws the rail. I know we'll talk to Nancy here in just a minute and kind of get her thoughts there. But I honestly think that makes things even more interesting. We've seen a little bit of everything from Carl, and so drawing the rail here. Like I said, no post position as far as outside, obviously, with the elimination winners, both elimination winners, and both equally impressive in their elimination.
They were, and I think, it's just who can beat these two. But I think there's a lot of, the 8 other colts in there all have something to offer if you want to look at it. Going in, looking at the elimination one from last week, as we look at that first elimination from last week.
To the outside.
There we are. Carl's elimination. Now this is a different tactic for Carl, as we're going to catch him here from about the head of the stretch on. Carl, he took
situationship. And Carl on the outside with Open Road. These two
as you
slugging
can see
out.
here, never even pulled the plug.
Yeah, and you talk about the Stanley Dancer, and maybe he's looking a little invincible. Whatever you thought he looked as far as the Stanley Dancer is concerned, I think you had to kind of throw that out after the elimination win. I thought it was particularly interesting too, as you talk about your coverage with the drivers and the trainers. Trainer Noel Daly saying he watched Carl warm up. He knew he was going to. That's the best that he'd ever seen him, and that just speaks to the volumes of we talk about getting these horses to this race, the strategy that goes into getting these horses to peak at the right time, and I think Nancy Takter has done a fabulous job of getting.
Now looking at the TCI here, we're looking at TCI. Now TCI won easy. Ronnie Burke said going in, he said he had a couple rough weeks there, but he knew going into that elimination last week we were going to be the best. But he said, here's the thing, he said this week he trained better than he did last week before that start.
Yeah, you got to love that from Ronnie Burke. He's one of those guys that's very straightforward. He's going to tell you if he doesn't think a horse is 100%. And I love his confidence after he trained TCI. Like I said, he's just oozing confidence with this horse. And even mentioning last year he had the favorite Celebrity Bambino. You can just see it not only in his voice but in his body language how much more confident he is with a horse like TCI this year.
We're going to look quickly at the Hambletonian Oaks graphic, but we got a pretty lady standing right here to my left. It's going to be sitting next to me here on my right soon. But let's look at this Hambletonian Oaks field, of course led by that heavy favorite, Alyssa Hanover. Can they beat Alyssa Hanover? I don't seem to think so today.
Yeah, draws the rail again. I just find it so interesting, Wendy. We've got a filly that is, going on such a win streak as Alyssa Hanover, and it's crazy to me that we're not talking about her like we're talking about Carl and TCI. It's a little more complex as far as the field is concerned. You got to love it, though. I think that's obviously, like we say, that's why we race them. It makes things interesting, and a lot to look forward to as far as the Oaks is concerned.
Well, we have a lot to look forward to here, but we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with trainer Nancy Takter. Run's 2024 yearling lineup is now available. View it on their website, canerunfarm.com. And by the Standardbred Horse Sales Company, now accepting entries for the mixed sale on November 7th and 8th. The 2023 sale topper of $450,000 was reached 3 times. Don't miss being a part of the sale. Visit theblackbook.com to enter.
Cut. Go to app.
We need a chair. Bring her in. And she's so busy. I hope we have time for her.
Nancy, Carl is right.
The crew is, this is our first live show, and it's live. It's live
It
TV.
is. It's live TV, and you just gotta love it. Like we said, there's a little bit of everything going on for those folks that may be tuning in live. Wish you were here, but like you said, the excitement is palpable in the air. We've got food trucks, we've got all sorts of great things, and like you said, we're doing live TV right down in the heart of everything that is going on. So there's a little bit of this, and we're going this way, but it's a lot of fun. And I think this is just setting it up for how much excitement we're going to be in for later.
Do we have Nancy? We're ready. Let's bring her in.
Oh, she's right there.
Oh yeah, she's ready. She's busy. She's a busy lady.
I know. When we've got her, we've got to capitalize on this.
This is raw footage. Get the chair. Sit down.
Live TV.
Nancy, here's your mic.
All right, thank you.
Wendy Ross now joined by trainer Nancy Takter. Of course, Emily, you know Nancy. Who doesn't know Nancy?
Yes, exactly. And like you said, such a busy day. And I mentioned it a little bit, it just adds to the atmosphere. You guys have got so much going on, but to take the time to speak to the fans, do autographs, do interviews, it's really incredible.
Yeah, I think it's an important opportunity that we get, to see the people that come out and watch us race all the time. Like you said, it is a very busy day. I have 13 horses racing today, so shortly I got to get going and start warming them up. But it's such a nice day. Like I said, it's really nice to get to see the fans.
I was handicapping last night, and I was going through some of my notes and stuff, and it might sound weird. I just wondered, did you have a hard time sleeping last night? I was like, what is that like? Were you up all night? Were you like, I got to go to bed, or?
Well, I was here last night racing, so I had no trouble going to sleep because I was on the track at 5:30 yesterday morning, and I was exhausted by the end of the day. So luckily for me, I usually don't have any trouble sleeping, and I actually stay pretty calm and cool. Like I said, I have 13 horses racing today, so there's a lot going through my mind, and I don't really, I won't think about Carl until it's really Carl's time to be thought about. So I really try to compartmentalize everything and focus on the horse that I'm out warming up with, and making sure that every horse, performs to their best ability, because it's a big day for all these horses.
That's right.
Now, when we talk about Carl, right, now we know on the track he's great, he's fast, made $1 million, but let's talk about him as a horse in general. He's got the personality, he loves people, and he loves the attention.
Oh yeah, he's a complete rock star. He loves every moment that he gets to have all his people around him. We had a tour group come out to the farm this week, and there was like 20 of them, 20 people standing around him, and they were like really getting really close to him and petting him, and he just stood there like he knows exactly what to do. He's a very lovable horse, like really, he just thrives off of, the attention and everything. So I think today's going to be a big day for him.
Yeah, and I think as you talk about handicapping and things like that, I think that's something that you seriously consider. And I love, when the trainers and things like that talk about the horse as a personality. Obviously we all say, these horses aren't machines and things like that, but off the track as well. And that's, for me, I was so captured by Carl. I've been around a lot of horses, been around a lot of good horses, but to me, he just has that presence about him. He has that intelligence about him, and he just gives off, one of those great horse vibes.
Yeah, like he's really chill. Nothing really phases him at all. He walks on the track and he doesn't get wound up or anything. So, big events like this aren't really going to bother him, I don't think.
Bothering him. Let's go back to 2023 right now. You had post 10 going into the final last week, and I think you were just mad all week that you drew post 10 because you knew you had a good colt that was getting into form, and you didn't know if he was in the right spot, but you said, I got post 10. Now tell me how you felt when you crossed the wire that day.
I obviously it was a great feeling when he crossed the wire, but I wasn't really didn't ever feel defeated about it because I knew that he was finishing his miles so well. And the Hambletonian's a crazy race. Crazy things happen in the Hambletonian. They often go very fast in the half, and it kind of, the closers do well. And so forth. So I didn't ever really feel defeated because I knew he was in top form and he was coming into shape. So I actually told Michelle Crawford that morning, I'll meet you in Saratoga for dinner. I'm going to go win the Hambletonian first. So, and I did it. I did it right.
now have you talked? Now we got a guy right to the right that's waiting to get on. He's waiting to get sit in this chair right now. He might be thinking that same thing today. You got any words for him before you leave?
I actually texted Ronnie this morning and I told him if I don't win, which I obviously do want to win because I don't like to lose, I do hope that TCI races really well. You know, for the Burke family, they've never won the Hambletonian, and Mickey Burke was a special person to me, so I know Mickey's looking down on the Burke team today, and they have a good horse and they have just as good of a shot as anybody else.
You're getting ready today to try to go to repeat history like your dad did, of course, winning back-to-back Hambletonians as your dad did, but it's all about you cementing your own legacy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's big shoes to fill. He's the greatest trainer probably ever. He's the only trainer that's in 3 Hall of Fame, so big shoes to fill. But you know what? He taught me so much, and I was around my dad. I was his shadow pretty much growing up, so I absorbed a lot of information from him and learned a lot from him. So hopefully I can fill his shoes well and get the job done today.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck, Emily.
Yeah, and one note that I did want to make, you're only one of 2 people to ever have taken care of a Hambletonian winner and also trained a Hambletonian winner, and I think that just speaks
Getting in the barn, that's where you get the grit, right?
Well, that's where I learned everything. So.
Nancy, thank you so much. You know we're rooting for you, and hopefully we'll be speaking a little bit later, right?
Sounds good.
Nancy Takter, everyone, we're wishing her the best of luck with Carl. We're getting ready to bring on trainer Ronnie Burke after this. We'll be right back.
Cane Run Farm has bred, raised, and prepped yearlings for over 40 years.
Good.
Most notably, Hambletonian Oaks champions Moneymaker, Nan's Catch, and Danae. Check out our 2024 yearling lineup on our website, canerunfarm.com. The Standardbred Horse Sales Company is now accepting entries for their mixed sale on November 7th and 8th. Enter online at theblackbook.com.
To be after her.
No, we
Gaskin, now joined by trainer Ron Burke. Ronnie, you made it here today.
Yeah, no, last night the flights were crazy. I really didn't mind it, and then especially when the rain came and these guys were here till midnight to race only 10 of the 14, I was much better off being at home. So.
Now, I know you got a lot going on today, but I have a script, I have an outline. Justin Otten's supposed to be on. What did you do with her? Where is she?
Go sit in the tent or something. Like, I got real things to do, not just talk about things.
So we just had Nancy Takter on. She was over there. She said she texted you. She said she thinks she's going to win this race today. And now there's 8 other colts in here besides your 2. What do you think?
I don't think she's going to win this race today. So, her horse is a great horse. I respect it totally, but I think, by laws of numbers, I'm due. So this is going to be my day.
This is what he said this week. He said, I'm just going to keep trying. And then I said, well, you never won the Hambletonian.
I did. For 10 minutes, I knew what it felt like to win, and then I knew what it felt like to get yelled at for swearing in the van.
We don't have a bleeping feature.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. But let's talk about TCI. Now, we caught up with you at the farm. I think TCI looks sensational today, or all week when I got to see him. What did you think after he trained Wednesday?
That's as good as he's trained this year. He was strong to the wire. He was willing. He was happy. That's what I said. 2 weeks ago when I warmed him up, I knew, or 3 weeks ago, he wasn't himself. Not that he was bad, but there's a crispness to him that was missing. By the time I trained him back for the last start, he was 90% there. This week, he's himself. He's ready to go. Good weather, and then hope for the best.
I did want to mention too, when he talked about the previous coverage, I do have a little bit of a bone to pick with you because you were talking about TCI, talking about the great trotters that you train. Mission Brief, of course, came up, but what about my girl Hannelore? You can't leave her out of the question.
The thing is, it's not only Hannelore, it's Buckeye St. Pat.
That's right.
It's, Southland Frank, What the Hill. It's nice that I've had so many great horses, but Mission Brief to me is always and will be one of one.
Yeah.
So I hope someday I do train a horse that I say that horse is better, because right now she's the greatest horse I ever sat behind. Her baby won the other day, even though we were the underbidders and we didn't get it. I'm thrilled. it was the first one that somewhat resembled the class she showed.
Yeah, and you talked a little bit about TCI, and I think, as we talk about the Hambletonian and everything that goes into it, you talk about this horse's intelligence. And I know you've talked about that. Obviously, he's got the talent, all of the versatility, but you oftentimes refer to his intelligence. Talk to us a little bit about that.
How many horses we've all seen that their careers were ruined by just beating themselves. Right. He doesn't beat himself. He's very smart, he's very willing, he'll learn, he'll adapt to new scenarios. And that's what, good thing for today, because when the gate opens, I can tell you 4 different scenarios I see. Him and David are going to have to react to whatever happens and, be able to do whatever they need to do, be it first over, on the lead, in the 2-hole. You're going to have to do something different today. It's not just straight to the front and stay there.
And Ronnie, to add to that, that's one thing. Looking at other colts in here that might have a shot, but I said as far as the racehorses in this race, horses that like to win and know how to do their work already this early in the game, Carl and TCI, I think, are just a step above these other colts. Because when it comes to TCI, like you said, scenarios, this colt likes to win.
Right, like last week they were like, nah, maybe that colt was getting you. We could have gone another quarter mile. He was not getting by. That horse will not. Somebody on his bumper trying to no, he's not letting that happen. So I got a foil to like that, and if you don't get to him by the last 16th, you aren't getting him. He's just going to lean until he gets there.
I went back and watched some replays, or all of his replays actually, and I thought it was so interesting. Interestingly enough, Yannick drove him his first couple starts. I believe he chose off, but in that first start here at the Meadowlands, it was literally like you could see the light bulb come on. Once he figured it out, knew what he was to do, it was like a game over. It was a different horse.
It's funny, training him down, we thought he was our best trotter, other than him in Classic Landing, who sadly died last year in his second start here on the track. And but it was that start where we went, maybe he's better than we thought even, And then the next start, you're really starting to put together big races. And then, he went on a barnstorming tour for a 2-year-old. You don't see 2-year-olds doing that, running up and down the coast and doing everything, and just kept winning. So I was really proud of him for. That's why I think he's tough. He's, he's adaptable to any track, anything. We'll see. We'll get him on a half-mile track one day. You'll see he can trot that as fast as he can trot this.
Let's not forget he's the richest 2-year-old ever. Made a break in the Mohawk Million and still came back to win. I have to ask, when he made a break, did you walk away from the TV?
No, I literally just started F, and then at the half I was like, wait, we can get a check. Top of the lane, it was my other horse on the lead, and I go, there is no way he will hold this horse off. He's just better than, and Tenny Storm's a great little horse. He is, yeah. He just is not going to hold that horse off.
Yeah.
Looking at the rest of the day, how many other horses we got in today?
I think only like 12 or 13. This is the least we've had for us on a, Hambo day, but like we got quality all through the day, and it's nice. You get it a little bit more. I can enjoy the races and watch the races.
Of course, we have Chapper Craze, It's Academic, and MM's Dream, another Indy bred.
Yeah, it's funny. Frank sent it 2 years ago and said, listen, I got one. I think she's like Hannah. I'm thinking, yeah, they fall off the tree every day. Yeah, this thing's like. Then after second start, I was like, maybe they were right. This thing is real. Hardest trying horse I got. Like, just gritty. Will never gives up. Very good horse.
Well, Ronnie, thank you so much. We always appreciate your time. We know you're busy, and I can't believe it. I've interviewed him for 15 years, and he's so calm today.
Yes.
Yeah.
I asked Nancy,
are you going to grab a sandwich on the way by, you think?
Nah, there's free food in the paddock. We ain't run anything yet.
I asked Nancy a little bit earlier, did you have any trouble sleeping last night? I was handicapping, and I was like, what is that feeling like the night before the Hambletonian?
The nice thing is they kept us up to 12. My flight, I had to leave at 4 in the morning, so I had no trouble. I had 4 hours I had to get to sleep, so no problem.
Very good, very
good.
Well,
Ronnie, thank you so much, and we're going to wish you the best of luck. Hey, maybe we'll be talking a little bit later.
Yeah, hopefully. I hope it ain't not Nancy. Come on.
I know. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Okay, guys.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Cane Run Farm has bred, raised, and prepped yearlings for over 40 years. Most notably, Hambletonian Oaks champions Moneymaker, Nan's Catch, and Dene. Check out our 2024 yearling lineup on our website, canerunfarm.com. The Standardbred Horse Sales Company is now accepting entries for their mixed sale on November 7th and 8th. Enter online at theblackbook.com. Started in 1980 on 80 acres in Lexington, Kentucky, Hunterton Farm has bred and sold 3 of the last 10 Hambletonian champions, including 2023 winner Tactical Approach. Find out more.
Member of the United States Trotting Association and take advantage of special benefits including pathway savings, member pricing on American Horse Council publications, and discounts on products and services, and so much more. USTrotting.com is where you'll find entries and results from all the racetracks and get behind-the-scenes stories as the USTA visits farms and stables before major races such as the Hambletonian, Little Brown Jug, and Breeders' Crown. It's easy to join. Just fill out the new member form on our website and start saving today. Become a member.
Farm.com. Started in 1980 on 80 acres in Lexington, Kentucky, Hunterton Farm has bred and sold 3 of the last 10 Hambletonian champions, including 2023 winner Tactical Approach. Find out more at huntertonfarm.com.
Back to the USTrotting Hambletonian pre-show. Wendy Rush and Emily Gaskin now joined by the face of the Meadowlands and one of the best well-known faces in all of harness racing. Hello, Jessica Otten.
Hi guys, I'm so happy to join you. A little steamy out here, but it's good.
Listen, this is probably my 16th Hambletonian, you know, and this is actually, there's a good breeze and it's not as humid as it has been in the past.
No, it has. I remember one year it rained early in the morning. I think it was the year Atlanta won it, and it was so steamy throughout the day. Not bad. Luckily, there's a little breeze today.
Well, you have your Hambletonian duties, but then you have some of your best friends and your sister in town. Then you're heading up to Saratoga tomorrow, right?
Yes, we are. Fox
What a
Sports.
weekend.
Yeah, it is. Last year I went and it rained when I went to Saratoga, so I didn't get the full experience, but they're kind enough to give us a box tomorrow and kind of get the full experience for Saratoga, so I'm really excited.
Now, Emily, you know about this from being out there in Hoosier, and Jessica and I talked about this earlier in the week. Gambling here at the Meadowlands, when you're here and you get to watch the races and be here live week to week, night to night, it is really an advantage compared to just trying to tune in for one day. But how can you help the people who are just tuning in today to compare to they don't get to watch them week to week? What do you think? How do you think that compares?
You know, my biggest thing is to watch how the horses are on the racetrack. I did a roundtable earlier this week, and they were talking about Lady Landia, I believe.
Yep.
And she never looked comfortable last week, so she was an auto toss ring. So if you can really pay attention, if you're on track or watching the simulcast feed, just pay attention to how they look on the racetrack. It's a hot day, it's a long day. If they don't look comfortable, it's something you really have to pay attention to.
As far as trends are concerned, is that something that you tend to adjust as the day goes on? You know, if a driver maybe gets hot. I was going back and looking at some of the win prices and payouts. Last year was absolutely crazy. We saw all kinds of prices, but talk to us a little bit about that. Do you adjust your strategy as the day goes on as far as how the track's playing? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, last year, if you remember, I think Scotty Z had 2 post-10 upset wins before the Hambletonian. So, yeah, on big days like today, it's something you have to pay attention to. Meadowlands Pace Night, James McDonald had the early double, and so he was off to a hot start. They ended up winning the Pace and Stakes record time, and you just kind of really have to pay attention. You know, we're going to maybe have a little bit of weather in the area, so that could change things, but the first 5 or 6 races, really pay attention to how the drivers are doing, how their mindset is going. It's a big day. There's a lot on the line, a lot of storylines in the Hambletonian and with the Oaks. So to me, paying attention, we obviously handicap the program Wednesday when it comes out, but if I was a live gambler, I would pay attention to 1, how the horses look on the track, 2, who's got the hot hands, and if you're going to get a nice price on them.
Or when you we do the interview last night, and you say, Wendy, how was the week? And I give you my little tidbits, and you're like, okay, maybe you made me think about that. Or if you want to watch, it's all in there in that USTrotting coverage, right?
Yes, definitely pay attention to how the individual looks. That's always something how I've paid attention to. Maybe that's the horseman coming out of me. I want my horse to warm up, look good, come out of that warm up good, and be comfortable. Like I said, it's a hot day, and it's a long day, and all these horses are in detention. So definitely their being comfortable on the track is something that's important.
Ron Burke mentioned that in your interview with him, and that he knew warming TCI up that he wasn't good that night.
Yep.
And then he said the very same thing. So something to note as far as training him, he said he's never trained better. So when you talk about talking to these trainers and the little tidbits, I think that information goes a really long way.
So let's talk about you. You got a few hats here that you're wearing throughout the
Grand Circuit. You got to get a seatbelt or a security
exactly.
here
This
because
girl
she's
is
liable to be pulled.
So, Jess, of course, you're doing all of the TV duties here. You're managing all that. And then in the last, is it second year now for the Fox broadcast? Or is this third already?
I want to say it was 2021 where we had a couple of shows, and that was kind of just us bouncing back with a couple of different racetracks, and it was myself solo. Last 2 years, it's been Gabe and I doing it together, which is really cool because he comes here and does all the shows, but then we're lucky enough to travel to the mainstays. We get to go to Hoosier for the Dan Patch and the Hoosier Park Pacing Derby. I did the Jug last year. We do the Breeders' Crown, Hambletonian Day, Meadowlands Pace. So it's been the last 2 years where Gabe and I kind of go on tour a little bit throughout
Did he
the
make
summer.
it?
He did make
Okay,
it.
very good.
The show can go on, right, with Gabe. The show can go on. So as far as where are we going to be able to see you guys today?
We will be on Big Network Fox, mainly from 4:30 to 5 with that post time of the Hambletonian going at 4:45, but that'll be our mainstay. But we'll have a little bit of coverage throughout the day, and then on Fox Sports 1 from 6 to 7 we'll have the Hambletonian Oaks, and I think it's just so cool. We got a lot of storylines going into both of those races, so really looking forward to that.
And how important it is for us as a sport to be getting our sport and our product out to such a bigger audience.
I think it's super important because it's a thoroughbred-centric audience for the Fox Sports show, and it's kind of cool and different. When I go to different tracks to do it, a lot of times when the simulcast gamblers are coming, they're for the thoroughbreds. I hate to admit it, but they are, and they see you and they know who you are just from watching the Fox shows or, watching Saratoga or, Churchill and stuff like that. So I think it's really cool with that because now that you get to connect, social media goes such a far way, and you got so many followers on, X or Twitter that talk about the thoroughbred shows. They're like, oh, we watch harness now because we saw you and Gabe on, the Fox Sports show. So I think it's super important. I think it's really cool. I haven't quite adapted to the thoroughbred world yet. I don't know if I ever will, but it's been a learning experience on our side, and as well as the Fox team. I mean, they've done just such a tremendous job learning harness racing because I know it's such a different world. But they do a really good job in trying to promote it as well.
And then you can say, oh, well, what do you wear? Harnessracing.com.
Exactly.
You can send it out there. Well, let's talk about the two finals we have today, of course. Who do we like in the Hambo?
I'm going to go with TCI over Carl. I know there's, it's a nice group of horses. I want to start out by saying that. And I think you mentioned it to me yesterday. Private Access is just a complete beast when you see him in person. I actually had him picked last week over TCI, and I thought he raced a beautiful animal. I just thought he raced really well. But talking to Ronnie and talking to Nancy, they're both so confident in their colts, and they're confident, and there's 8 other really nice horses in the race as well. But I'm gonna root for David Miller and Ronnie to get that Hambletonian trophy and keep it in their hands for longer than 10 minutes this year. And with that article coming out on Dave Miller, next year is gonna be his last year. Being out east, I think it'll just be like a storybook ending for him.
Yeah, that's certainly just such a great career. Let's get it done, right? Can the Buckeye get it done? I can't give out my pink information, but I'm not saying I disagree with you. Let's move on to the Phillies. Who do we like in the Oaks?
I've been a full backer of Alyssa Hanover since watching her in the Y's at the Pocono. Everyone is you kind of see where they all come from. She really wasn't on the Grand Circuit scene last year, and she credits Marcus Miller a lot for the developing and teaching her how to race last season, and she's just a beautiful individual. I went and saw her this week, did an interview with her, and she just the way she presents herself when there's so many people around. I think that's important how they handle it. She's looking to make it 11 in a row. I know everything's got to go right, and I honestly think it could be a David Miller double today.
That would be incredible. Yeah. And you talk about those storylines, and I think that's something worth noting for those folks tuning in. And like you said, James McDonald taking the early double. There are those trends. There's we saw Jim Campbell and things like that. So I think those storylines sometimes go a long way.
Yeah, I mean the year Andy McCarthy won the Hambo with Ramona Hill, I think he won 4 or 5 going into the Hambo with the Phillies. So it tends to be a little trendy when coming to that. So I'm curious to kind of see how things shape up.
And to your point about Alyssa Hanover, I know folks have said, like you said, who has she beat? What has she taken on? She answered that call last week.
Exactly.
And, she obviously, by around a super impressive filly, and you can't take anything away from her. But I thought Alyssa answered that call last week, so you have to go into that saying she has beat good horses.
I think last week the question was 50% of the people were against her because she hasn't faced anybody. But in my opinion, there really was no standout filly going into this. I mean, you have the Dan Patch Award winner, Sori Hanover. She hadn't really been on her A game. Warwee Michelle hadn't been quite on her A game. And, I don't think any filly's been able to test her because they haven't been able to get to her. And she's been facing Grand Circuit's company. Last week, Byron looked her right in the eye, and Alyssa trotted away. Drawn Impression was trotting really strongly on the outside of her. She turned her away. So what more does she have to do for people to believe in her,
And I do agree with you. She has been razor sharp, but I feel like, these guys, especially a trainer like Noel Daly, Noel is as sharp as they come. And it's hearing him talk about his filly Buy Around, who, of course, we know how great she was last year. He said, she's just been kind of dealt with some things. She's getting better and better today. Possibly could pull the shoes. everyone's going to know, but that is something to consider because he feels like she's going to get right at the right time. And then, of course, Aki talking to him about Will We Michelle, what a great filly she was last year as well. She had some throat issues. They had to get some surgery done. So he feels she's just coming back. And you know how the Spawn said horses, don't worry about that date on the program page.
Right.
They're fit. And it's just how they're going to be that day.
And you know, another horse who I think could be sneaky good coming into the race is Miss Isla for Noel Daly. She's got wicked gate speed. I know Allegiant is very handy off of the gate as well, but Miss Isla just has that quick turn of foot where, you know, she could be the one that mixes things up early on to make a few of those other favorites really work for position.
Any other big races you're looking forward to today, other than all of them?
I'm looking for the rematch between Twinbee Joe Fresh and Sylvia Hanover. I said this on the round table, you know, I love Twinbee Joe Fresh. I think she's an absolute tank. But I think, and you know, to credit the Stacys and Bob McClure for what they've done with Sylvia, I think she really responded to the driver change. I think maybe she just got a little too comfortable with the way Bob McClure's been driving her, and she responded to an aggressive steer last week. Now she gets an inside post. There's a couple of relievers to her outside in between her and Twinbee Joe Fresh. I think it's going to be a really good one.
I do too. I think, you know, Sylvia is coming into this race, like you said, maybe that wake up kind of effort for her. And so, again, the gloves are going to come off. And you just got to respect both of these fillies for what they are mares now, for what they've done. So, yeah, one of those matchups that I'm really looking forward to.
Twinbee, if people get to watch her on the track, she is a stallion in a mare's body. She really is. You would think she's a stallion.
I would say the same about Sylvia. When I got up close to her in person, she's got a filly head, you know, and she's got some filly features, but she's a tank herself. So both those fillies really kind of give off testosterone vibes.
Do you feel that Sylvia's gotten over that? Remember last year she'd give you just be like, she's being now she's like, I was like, I'm like, okay,
how did she do that?
And I'm like, oh wow.
Finish up the track, but no, she won.
Just a few of the great races that we have looking forward to. Jessica, thank you so much for taking time with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is cool, right?
Yeah,
this is really this was cool to get. It's the girl power.
Yeah, I like it.
But from girl power to Derick Givner, we're gonna welcome in the editor of DRF Harness to talk about tidbits and, of course, gambling. We'll be right back. We're gonna take a short break.
Cane Run Farm has bred, raised, and prepped yearlings for over 40 years. Most notably, Hambletonian Oaks champions Moneymaker, Nance Ketch, and Dene. Check out our 2024 yearling lineup on our website, canerunfarm.com. Cane Run Farm has bred, raised, and... The Standardbred Horse Sales Company is now accepting entries for their mixed sale on November 7th and 8th. Enter online at theblackbook.com. Started in 1980 on 80 acres in Lexington, Kentucky, Hunterton Farm has bred and sold 3 of the last 10 Hambletonian champions, including 2023 winner Tactical Approach. Find out more at huntertonfarm.com.
We are athletes. We are drivers. We are caretakers. We are owners. We are trainers. We are fans. We are harness racing. States Trotting Association, and take advantage of special benefits including pathway savings, member pricing on American Horse Council publications, and discounts on products and services, and so much more. USTrotting.com is where you'll find entries and results from all the racetracks and get behind-the-scenes stories as the USTA visits farms and stables before major races such as the Hambletonian, Little Brown Jug, and Breeders' Crown. It's easy to join. Just fill out the new member form on our website and start saving today.
The USTrotting Hambletonian pre-show is sponsored in part by Cane Run Farm. Cane Run's 2024 yearling lineup is now available. View it on their website at canerunfarm.com. And by Hunterton Farm. Started in 1980 on 80 acres in Lexington, Kentucky, Hunterton Farm has raised and sold 3 Hambletonian winners in the last 10 years, including 2023 champion Tactical Approach. Find out more at huntertonfarm.com. And we're back. Welcome to the Hambletonian pre-show. Wendy Ross, Emily Gaskin, now joined by Derick, the editor of DRF Harness. Derick, thank you so much. You're a busy guy today.
Yeah, just running around, just in the paddock, just talking to some trainers, just trying to see what's going on, get their thoughts on maybe shoeing and stuff like that, and what the track conditions like.
You know, that's what it's about, right? I know I have a cool job. I get to go all week, see the colts, see the fillies, talk to the trainers, and get those inside information. So if you need anything, I hope you've checked out our coverage throughout the week.
I've been actually watching a lot of your videos. I found them informative. You know, sometimes you learn something, you know, just by watching, no matter what you watch. You never know.
I said the same thing, Derick. You know, I kudos to Wendy and the crew because, you know, when you get these guys in the winner's circle, emotions are high and you know, you get great answers, but getting those candid responses, those kind of natural, relaxed atmosphere in the barns and things like that, like you said, you oftentimes learn little tidbits. But I'm curious, what was the vibe like in the paddock today? Did you learn anything? How's the track condition? What are the trainers thinking?
It seems to me that some of the Swedish trainers maybe think the track's a little hard.
Okay.
You know,
Very good.
But they were hopeful that it'll get a lot more water. They've been watering it a bunch. You know, I've been watching the water truck out there, so they're hoping because they want to pull the shoes.
That's right.
You know, but then I talked to some American trainers, and they're kind of like, the track's fine. It's playing perfect.
Right. Very good.
And talking about looking at the conditions here today, if you're not here but you want to know, we got a light breeze. It's hot, not super humid, crazy hot, but it's hot. But it's a nice day. The track we've all seen some good numbers today.
Yeah, and this track in particular, right? When it takes on water, it gets faster. You know, some tracks they take on Red Mile, it takes on water, that's it. You're done. You know, here the track gets faster and faster the more water it gets. So that rain that we got yesterday will probably make it faster. And a lot of it comes down to how they condition it. How much water did it put down on the track? Are they trying to make it softer? You know, sometimes it'll start fast and then go soft. So it depends.
When you talk about pulling the shoes, of course, some people understand what that means, but some people don't. So to explain is horses can go a lot faster. They can grab the track with a little bit more traction if you pull the shoes, especially for horses that interfere. And some of the trainers are thinking of doing that today, and it certainly can be a game changer.
Yeah, and a lot of them are still undecided. Like, I think Marcus Miranda originally was like, yeah, I'm probably going to do it, and then asked him about Date Night Hanover, and then he was like, I don't know, I'm not sure. Noel Daly just would not give me an answer, you know. I don't know yet, I have to see. Like, I think a lot of it's going to come down to, does it rain? You know, do we get a big storm at 4 o'clock, and then, you know, that might change the decision.
Yeah, and I think we said we are expecting, it looked like about 3:34, right?
Sometime between 3:30 and 6 o'clock, it is supposed to rain really hard.
Well,
how long? I don't know.
I hope I don't take the blame for that. That's why I said, God, please just don't let it rain in the morning tomorrow. So I hope I haven't set us up for Hambletonian showers.
So you always signed up for your segment, and then after that you don't care.
Pick up for the rest of the day.
Derick, we have hair, we have dress, we have to worry about things, right?
Everything just rolls down my face. It doesn't matter.
Now let's talk about going throughout the week. The races, the entries come out, and then the program comes out, the morning line. Tell us kind of like what goes into your thought process and how you establish your wagering card for a day like today.
As soon as the proof comes out, you know, I take it, I print it out. I never go past the proof. So if you see here, there's no morning lines, there's no all my driver changes are written in.
Yeah.
I like to start fresh with nothing, no other opinions, no one else getting in my head, and then make all my decisions, and then I'll start looking at the other information, what the drivers might have chose and stuff like that. I don't want a driver decision to affect my decision necessarily. Sometimes they will afterwards. There's something major, but the difference between Yannick Gingras and Tim Tetrick isn't really that much.
But speaking, Emily, and you can comment on this, speaking of a driver change, say there is kind of a toss-up and they go with the one, does that impact you though? If they take one where it could be a tie and they go with a certain horse?
It depends on the situation. You'll see sometimes I write in my analysis, I think this driver made the wrong decision. You know, I don't think the drivers know everything. They just don't. They go with what's their best feeling. Sometimes they're going with their trainer that they like.
Yeah, well, and I thought that was interesting too. Yannick actually drove TCI in his first few starts, chose off of him for a horse by the name of Mars Hill, I believe, that Nancy Takter trained. So interestingly enough, like you said, sometimes they just make the wrong choice.
Yeah, yesterday on the Friday card, there was, I think it was Margarita Hanover. Dexter Dunn had a choice of that horse or the rail horse, but Dominic Ciceri. He went with the Dominic Ciceri horse, and Margarita Hanover won.
So let's go back to Hambletonian 2015 when Yannick had a choice. Remember when they were still doing heats then between Mission Brief and Pinkman? He went with Mission Brief, and of course Brian Sears picked up the drive for Jimmy Takter and won with Pinkman.
And he still says he made the right decision.
Yeah,
and he lost. So
Yeah.
I don't
Similar
know.
story too. Todd McCarthy picking up the call on Cool Papa Bell, the longest Hambletonian winner, 57. I think he paid $57 to win. But Brian Sears opting to go with and the horse that finished second that year.
He won Ghostly Casper. He went with Ghostly Casper from the outside, I believe,
Yeah, but
right?
the year Cool Papa Bell won. Brian Sears finished second. I want to say Jim.
Oh, Joviality.
Joviality, that's right.
Yeah. I'm
Joviality.
sorry, I get my years.
But
This is,
Todd
too bad.
McCarthy, anyways, picked up the call on Cool Papa Bell, and so you talk about drivers picking up and choosing different horses. It comes down to the trip sometimes.
Sometimes I pick a horse and, I'm picking them 3 days out and I get to the day of and I see something, I change my mind.
And you can do that, thankfully.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it here. They're wrapping us up. Unfortunately, we don't have so much more time. Derick, take us through who you like in the finals.
I really like calling the Hambletonian. I see it as a race without a lot of pace, and I think he's going to, float away at his own speed, make one brush to the lead, and I think the race is over. The Oaks is completely wide open. I think there's so much speed in there that I went with a closer by a round. I'm really hoping that the weather holds up and they pull the shoes, because I think that will make that horse a much faster filly, but I don't know at this point.
Yeah, I think by round two, it's certainly she's kind of the sneaky one in there, and if you're looking to go off the favorite of Enlista, by round's probably the avenue that you can take.
I also like Date Night Hanover a little, another one that if they pull the shoes and the pace sets up like I think, has a chance.
I love Date Night Hanover all week, just watching the form she's been coming into, but then when I saw she drew the outside, I said, because we needed a little bit of luck, and then she drew it outside, so we're going to need a lot of luck from there, right?
Yeah, but last time she raced without shoes was in the Zwei, and she was spectacular. So if they do pull the shoes, that might be something to consider.
Well, Emily, anything else for Derick?
We talk about the big finals and things like that. Twinbee, Joe Fresh, and Sylvia Hanover. Who are you going with there? Or are you going with another upset?
I picked Sylvia Hanover, but I don't know that I picked her confidently.
Okay.
I kind of want to see a rivalry, so it'd be more fun if she won. But it's always nice to have a horse that never loses, too. I mean, I actually have my page open to Ruthless Hanover.
Yes.
I want to see a big race from Ruthless Hanover.
And today is Ruthless Hanover's type of day. He's going to wing out there from the outside. He's going to go right down the road. And if he gets loose like that, you can't catch him.
100%. That's what I'm looking at. He's going to be a big price. That would be my value play on the card.
I like Backstreet Shadow in there a little bit, too. Travis Alexander, you talk about these big days, and it seems like, those veterans like that, they sometimes show up and race big like that. So I like Ruthless Hanover, but I like Backstreet Shadow for a little bit of a price as well.
Yeah, it should be a really fun race, and maybe we'll get to see a record. The weather's nice and hot is usually record.
Would not surprise me.
Now, Derick, I've got your pick 4. I don't know if you want to give it out, but we've got recorded as a $28 ticket. That's a pretty good play today for that late pick 4 for the 12th to the 15th.
Yeah, usually I don't go that big. I kind of like to key in on horses. The problem is you have a race in that sequence. Race 13 is the New Jersey Sire 6 final, and it's a complete crapshoot.
Yeah.
I mean,
2 USTrotting fillies. Where do we go? Where could you go there, right?
There's like 8 of them that can win, and I mean, if you wanted to, I would say, if you're going to want to pare it down, throw out the ones that are lower in the morning line and go with the other ones and hope for the price.
Well, Derick, thank you so much. Emily, we're going to let you go because we're going to come back. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with mine and Emily's picks and who we like in those finals. We'll be right back.
Prepped yearlings for over 40 years. Most notably, Hambletonian Oaks champions Moneymaker, Nance Ketch, and Dene. Check out our 2024 yearling lineup on our website, canerunfarm.com. Started in 1980 on 80 acres in Lexington, Kentucky, Hunterton Farm has bred and sold 3 of the last 10 Hambletonian champions, including 2023 winner Tactical Approach. Find out more at huntertonfarm.com. The Standardbred Horse Sales Company is now accepting entries for their mixed sale on November 7th and 8th. Enter online at theblackbook.com.
We are athletes. We are drivers. We are caretakers. We are owners. We are trainers. We are fans. We are harness racing.
Become a member of the United States Trotting Association and take advantage of special benefits including pathway savings, member pricing on American Horse Council publications, and discounts on products and services, and so much more. USTrotting.com is where you'll find entries and results from all the racetracks and get behind-the-scenes stories as the USTA visits farms and stables before major races such as the Hambletonian, Little Brown Jug, and Breeders' Crown. It's easy to join. Just fill out the new member form on our website and start saving today. Become a member of the United States Trotting.
Hambletonian pre-show is sponsored in part by Hunterton Farm. Sponsored in 1980 on 80 acres in Lexington, Kentucky, Hunterton Farm has raised and sold 3 Hambletonian winners in the last 10 years, including 2023 champion Tactical Approach. Find out more at huntertonfarm.com. And by the Standardbred Horse Sales Company, now accepting entries for the mixed sale on November 7th and 8th. The 2023 sale topper of $450,000 was reached 3 times. Don't miss being a part of the sale. Visit theblackbook.com to enter. And we're back. Welcome back. Wendy Ross joined by Emily Gaskin for the USTrotting Hambletonian pre-show. Emily, we're getting close to that first
We are. Again, want to thank our guests for taking the time. Just absolutely amazing. It's great to talk to these folks. You can feel the excitement, and like you said, as we inch closer